So each year, this convening offers us a rare opportunity for meaningful exchanges. It is a space where business leaders, all of you gathered here today, as peers, come together for honest reflections.
The most important for us as the UN in terms of what you can give us, right? Because we need to create a win-win situation, right? And I always tell my colleagues, we need to be attractive to the private sector, but it also goes the other way.
But to change this narrative a little is putting this conversation in more of an African context. And what I feel is Africa needs to stop being the recipient of frameworks, guidelines, and roadmaps. We need to be able to come together as CEOs and audiences in this room and come up with more collaborative efforts and look for more homegrown solutions that are human-centered. That is how we are going to create innovation. Copy-pasting will not work for the long term.
Leadership is where it rises and falls. Whether you're looking at leadership at the private sector level, leadership from the UN, public sector, political leadership, global leadership.
What we can do is important, but it is limited. So doing it with others is probably more effective. And a few years ago when we were joining the UN Compact, to us it was a no-brainer because you want to find out what others are doing, where you can slide in and do it together. But I am a strong advocate for start with what you have and what you can do. And then as policy aligns, but influence policy. Actually, I think a big role of some of the associations we belong to is so that our voices can be heard.
So I think it's up to us, people in private sector, to be creative on how do we find solutions for communities that are unable to do it for themselves. And I think it's an amazing opportunity. I felt so good when I was coming back home, just to seeing the number of lives that you actually can impact.
So what are the 3 leadership skills you need in this environment now? I call it very simply the ABC of leadership, to keep it in my own mind. But the A stands for adapt. Adapt to the realities of the situation. I didn't elect this president, or I didn't, cause this problem to emerge. But how do I adapt to that? Just like I adapt my language, how do I adapt and understand what is going on? The second one, and that requires effort. The B stands for bridging. How do I reach out to the other side? Instead of vilifying, not talk, making them the part of the problem or getting anxiety or fear. How do you bridge and work together? It takes courage to bridge with someone that has completely opposing views. But I'm making an effort, and I think we should all do. And then the C stands for collaboration. I don't have to tell you that. If you adapt, if you bridge, then the next step very simply becomes do things together what you can't do alone. Is now probably the most important thing. If we would work together, we could find solutions, especially if our lives were at risk, which is what we are talking about right now.
And as progress takes shape, we must recognize the urgency of this moment. The choices we make in the next few years will determine whether we achieve a just transition or if we deepen inequality, whether we build resilient economies or we continue to react to crises. The window for incremental change is closing fast, and business leadership must rise to meet this defining decade.